Hi, I'm Melissa. Welcome to Wed and Worth It. We're going to have transparent conversations around budgets and walk through the emotional journey that is wedding planning. We're going to discuss the value of investing in meaningful moments and the joy that comes from creating an experience for yourselves and your loved ones. We talk to newly married couples to find out, was it worth it? Hi! We have Nikki from Love and Beauty Maui.
Hello.
I'm so excited to have you on today. Quick background. You did my makeup when I was in Maui about a year and a half ago, or a little over a year ago. And it was by far my most favorite makeup that I've ever had done. I've had my makeup done like a whole 5 times, but I just got those images printed and they're hanging like too large, very large on my wall. And I'm like, freaking, my makeup looked fantastic. So I'm so excited to have you on and hear a little bit about you and your business and just things that you are seeing in the industry. So tell me about yourself. Are you from Maui?
I am not from Maui. I'm from Oahu, so I am from Hawaii. I'm a mom of 2, married, and I've been a stylist for I think 21 years. I stopped counting.
Yeah. We just let that number go after 20,
Yeah,
probably.
I don't want to think about it. I feel like the last 8 just flew by.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I feel like you've had an eventful couple years too, specifically.
I've moved around a few times, spent a long time in Atlanta as strictly a hair cutter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did all the wedding hair. There were only like 2 of us in the salon that enjoyed doing weddings and proms and things like that. So I did all that. And then when I moved back to Hawaii,
Okay.
I decided to learn how to do makeup before I got here so that I could do brides
So
entirely.
you knew specifically you wanted to work with brides.
Yeah, just being from here, I knew that I saw the difference. Like being in Hawaii, people don't get their hair cut as often as they do in Atlanta.
Really? Real? I mean, okay.
People in Atlanta, like my hair is not even that as long as theirs. Like it'll be down to their butts and they get it cut every 5 weeks. So I was busy, but I just felt like I couldn't do that coming home. And plus I didn't know how to do color yet. I was like half a stylist, by the way. I did really like that while I was in Atlanta.
50%, that's a solid amount, you know?
So I actually learned how to do color when I moved back. I lived on Oahu for a couple years and then I moved here. And
So
this,
when did you move to Maui?
I think it was 7 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
So I've been here, and ever since I moved here, it's like a totally different ball game, even from Oahu.
Really?
Yeah, I guess Oahu is more of a has a city vibe. There's it's similar to Atlanta. I guess people are more into their looks and stay on top of things like that. But coming here, it was different in a sense that on Oahu, I could still be a B2 employee and work at a salon. Once I moved here, nobody hires for that. Everybody is a contractor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I dabbled in, like, I was like a freelancer, wedding hairstylist and makeup artist on Oahu, and then I also managed an Aveda salon and did the whole cut and color and everything. And then when I moved here, I was like, oh wow, everyone's a contractor. So I just got thrown into like full-time freelancing.
So it's interesting to hear that even between the islands, there's such a big difference in how businesses are run.
Yeah.
So, how was it getting set up as your own business on Maui?
Well, so I was a freelancer and I rented a chair at a salon. And I literally just I was on Instagram and I followed a few people that I thought looked awesome. And then I just DM'd them and I asked them like, hey, do you need help on your team? I would love to be of service. And that's when I realized everybody wants help on their team. So
Mm,
I was working for a few people all at the same time and it was like a juggling act. And then what happened was the pandemic hit, and then one of the teams I worked for, which was Love and Beauty Maui, they asked me to take over their company because it was a duo.
okay.
Yeah, Backstory, I also had a yoga studio that also went downhill during COVID.
Oh,
So
yeah. Okay.
I totally understood.
COVID was rough.
Yeah, I understood like why they would want to pass it on. It wasn't a pleasant time to be a business owner, but
No, I can vouch for that.
yeah, so I took over. It was something I knew that I could do, and I was like passionate about it. So it just seemed like a great opportunity, and they were happy that I took over because it was like when you're doing what we do, you have weddings booked out until next year. So
Yeah.
like you can't just leave. You
No, no, it's a slow burn. And two, if it's, they built this business from the ground up, like it's like you're handing your baby off to somebody. So you want it to be somebody you really trust and you know is going to do a good job and continue to build the brand in a way that they started out and
yeah,
have a reputable business.
yeah, it worked out so great. And like, yeah, when I think about it, I'm like, wow, that would be really hard for me to find someone and get all your clients to trust that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, well, because like that's such a personal piece to who's doing your makeup, especially if they had already gone through some trials and
yeah. So it worked out good though because I was like their main girl, so they featured me a lot. And then when it came for the transition, they just like told everyone who I was that I had already been working with them for 3 years, and then it was like seamless.
I'm an owner now. I'm the owner now.
Yeah.
What was the transition like for you going from employee to owner?
So I was already pretty much running my own business as a freelancer. So it was seamless. The only difference was I had to, get my business registered. The actual takeover of the back end stuff was a little challenging. All the systems and processes, like taking that over. But they were so good. They trained me for about a week and then I just took over from there.
Easy peasy, lemon squeeze.
Yeah, and it was cool because I was like, wow, two of them were doing what I'm doing now.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's so they're like working underneath you?
No, no, no. Like it took both of them to handle all the bookings and all the answering emails. You know what I mean? Managing everything, and I'm doing all of that. So I felt like really good about myself right away. I was like, oh wow, I can handle everything.
I am. I'm a very competent human being. I love that. That's so cool. I didn't realize that you had come in and become an owner for an already established company. Way to go. Okay.
Thank you.
So tell me about your couples. Who are the people, or even specifically brides, that you are working with?
So I would say our ideal client is basically me.
Aren't we all our own ideal client?
Yep. So I am somebody that I am more of a natural makeup wearer. I do not love the look of the full glam.
Mm.
I like to represent myself, um, just be myself. Like I don't really want to be anyone else. Like I just want to feel comfortable in my own skin. So
Mm.
I want my hair like the best it could be without overdoing it. Makeup, natural to soft glam. I'm more of an easygoing, go with the flow kind of person.
Mm.
So I would totally, and I actually did this. I was living in Atlanta and I went back to Oahu and got married.
Oh,
And yeah, it was just on the beach. So I would totally be someone that would come to Maui and have like a little intimate wedding or an elopement on the beach and just go to a restaurant after for their reception.
very relaxed.
Yeah, so that's who our client is. We get a lot of elopements, we get a lot of micro weddings, and then we also do some really big weddings too. We also have that clientele.
What would you say there's like a percentage of how many weddings you do that are the larger wedding versus an elopement or micro?
I think the large weddings, that's where we're doing like six or more hair and makeups at the
Okay.
party. And their weddings, I think, are like 75 or more people. That's probably like 10% of our business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Solid 90.
yeah.
Is the time, okay, we'll probably get into this next, but like is the timeline different too for how far in advance somebody is finding you and booking you between those two?
It's anywhere from like 6 to 12 months for everyone, I would say. But
Okay.
we do get a lot of last minute inquiries that are like, I'm surprised. A lot of single couple or elopements, but then some of them are like little weddings as well. And I don't understand how it works out, but they're planning it.
Oh, that is impressive.
Yeah, planning like 6 weeks ahead. I'm like, okay.
You need your makeup done too. Okay.
Yeah.
So what does your process look like from start to finish? You're saying 6 to 12 months usually is about how far in advance they find you and
Yes.
inquire.
Yes, definitely. I recommend that too because we are on a small island, so there's a limited amount of
Mm,
makeup artists. So you definitely want to just book ahead, especially on those like dates that are the number dates that people love,
yes.
like the
10-10.
yes, stuff like that, or special holidays, Valentine's Day. But basically, a lot of people find me through my website, and then you would go to our contact page, fill out your information. I just have like the basic questions: name, date. Do you want to come to our salon, or do you want us to come to you? Where are you staying? How many people need hair
What
and
do you
makeup?
do as far as like, do most people come to you or do you go to most people?
Right now, it's still mostly mobile, but we have like a good chunk of people that are coming.
Okay. I loved being in your studio. It was
Thank
such a
you.
fun little vibe in
Yeah.
there. So chill, music, relax. Like that's exactly where I would want to be hanging out on the morning of my wedding.
Yeah, I love that we created that. But see, so they fill out the form and then they will get our price list emailed to them, and I send them like a little welcome email and kind of explain who we are. And then I try to reach out ASAP, like either a day or two, to max. And I
Yes.
because I
Especially
get
like
their
wedding weekend. It's like, ah,
yeah, I get their inquiry right away. So there's no excuse on my end. I should check my email daily. So I get back pretty quickly with more of like a personalized email where I've read all the details and I can give them more information if they need it. And then from there, we'll be in contact via email. If they want to chat on the phone, we can do that as well. And
do
then,
most people want to chat with you on the phone or no?
no.
And okay, sorry, keep going. Keep telling me about it. I do have a question eventually.
Yeah, you can ask your questions.
Well, I'm just thinking, so I'm assuming, is it like a huge percentage probably that you're working with destination? Okay. So are people doing trials or are they not? Like, are any couples, if they come out to do other wedding planning things, are they seeing you? Do you do many trials or not? Because it is a lot of destination elopements.
We do not do a lot of trials. We only do maybe 10% trials.
Okay.
Yeah, so I tell people when they ask about it, I say, yes, we definitely offer that. And I recommend you get it done like the week that you're here for your reception dinner, if you're going on a
There.
date night or a bridal party night. But I also tell them like a lot of our brides don't do that. But if you're someone that's nervous or somebody that is very detailed and structured with their hair and makeup and you know exactly what you want and you want to just make sure it is that, then book your trial. So those two things, if you're nervous or you just need to know it's going to be exactly how you want it.
And then, because I feel as though a lot of the times a trial for the couples that I'm working with here in Arizona, they are doing their trial for their engagement session. I'm like, well, that's probably, I mean, it could be a thing out there, but another way to use your trial would be for your rehearsal dinner or that week while you're in town. And yeah, that's a great idea.
We
Okay.
do have couples that come out ahead of time though and they do their engagement shoot and they do some wedding planning, trials, tastings, things like
Okay, so that does happen. Yeah, I was just curious about that. I'm like, that's one thing you kind of want to do oftentimes before the day of.
that. Right.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Okay, so then on the day of, tell me about that process. So if you've done a trial, you kind of know exactly what you're doing that day.
Hmm.
And it's if it's an elopement or micro wedding, it's just you. But if it's, I'm assuming if it's a larger wedding, you have a team.
Yeah, so I offer a couple packages, and there's one where you're booking the team, and then there's one where you're booking me. So I do have a team that I work with, and like I will let you know ahead of like in my confirmation emails. I'll let you know who's coming out. Um, I do have work with a lot of cosmetologists that can do hair and makeup, and then if it's a single bride, I'll send that one stylist out, or maybe myself. But then if there's a group, then I'll usually send out accordingly like two or more stylists for the group. But yeah, we just get to the location. We arrive at least 15 minutes ahead of time, and I'm very like I feel like I'm really good at over communicating everything. So I think that's why people don't need to get on the phone with me. Ask me questions. I'll tell them like
What? I'm getting another email. Okay, okay.
well, like I tell them we're gonna get there 15 minutes ahead of time. We need to start, to get set up, and then we need to start exactly at your appointment time. And then I usually let them know how long it's gonna take. Then we usually will do. I mean, we don't really do. I usually do makeup first, and then hair last, because I feel like the hair is going to be the first to like fall, or you know, I just think it's best to do it, save it for last.
I love that. Well, I feel like it like completes the look too. Also, you can like, I mean, from my limited understanding, I'm like, oh, you can pull your hair back and make sure the whole face is good, and then you can get to the hair.
Yeah, yeah. Because if we do this hairstyle first, then we take so much time to style the front perfect, and then we take a clip and we're like,
For a clip. Okay, so then you do their makeup, and then it's just bon voyage.
um,
Happy day.
so because they're destinations, sometimes elopements, a lot of times they need help putting the dress on. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so I feel like my team and I were really good about just being helpful
Mm.
when we're needed. Um,
All hands on deck.
yeah, so I have learned like little tricks on how to like do the dresses with like 1,000 buttons.
Oh, yes.
So
What's one of your tricks? Tell me. I feel
so
similarly, actually.
I've only seen this happen twice where the bride comes and their seamstress or the dressmaker, whoever sold them the dress, gave them like a crochet tool to like, so it's the dress where there's a bunch of buttons up the back,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
20 buttons.
And like the little loopies.
Yeah, a little elastic loops to get it over after you zipper. And the first time I saw that, I was like, "Oh wow, that's smart." And she's like, "Oh, my dress lady gave it to me." And I'm like, "Okay." So now I feel like that should be a thing, but it's not.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they don't even know what's going on. They're like, somebody in their party's trying
Well,
to
and
get it.
everybody has their nails done for like the first time in a long time, so nobody can like, yes,
Yeah, so I'll just like stop what I'm doing, like, "Oh, let me help you," and I get a bobby pin, and I'm just like, boom, boom, boom.
a
I'm
bobby
like,
pin.
wow. And then I'm like, here, and I use a really big, a strong one.
Yes.
So I'm like,
Oh, you
here,
don't need a crochet hook. I will bring a crochet hook for the exact same
sure.
purpose, but a bobby pin.
So
I
you can
mean,
leave it with them.
yes. Okay. Smart. I love that. I'm gonna adopt that. But it's so funny. I'm always asking to. One question I like to ask is, what is your dress zip or is it button? Because that's gonna change how much time it takes to get ready. Zipping it up versus wait, we have all of these loops and fresh nails and makeup, and it just takes a little bit longer. So that's so funny. But I love it. You guys will help people get into their dresses.
Oh yeah, I mean we wait to do the veil at the last minute. Sometimes they have a lepo'o, which is the flower crown.
Yes.
So we'll put that on at the last minute. I mean, we've had we're even like putting their shoes on and their earrings for them. Like we do so much.
It's the fine print of the job description.
Yeah, I mean we're like basically hair and makeup plus bridal concierge.
Yeah. That's so accurate. Like one thing I didn't realize I was going to be doing or was going to need to know how to do was pin a boutonniere. I'm like the amount of boutonniere pinnings that I do. I'm like our jobs just like kind of overlap each other.
Oh yeah. A lot of times I'm like, okay, well hopefully the photographer knows how to like put your veil in if you're not ready. Because sometimes it's like they don't want to put it on because it's hours before they're actually,
Yes.
going to get married and they only want to wear that later. So I'm like, I think the photographer will know. They usually do, but I show them and
Yeah.
then I'm
Like
just,
the curve. It's funny because I think they always like the comb, like that's curved, like that it goes up. I'm like, nope, you turn it upside down,
yeah,
right? All
yeah.
right, okay. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna be wrong. I'll have a bride that one of my past brides like, I can't believe she put in my veil wrong. No, but it's like upside down with the
Yeah,
curve.
well, yeah, it's like an 80s comb. Like you start with the teeth up and you go in the hair and then you turn it and it goes down and it locks it.
Okay.
It like locks it in.
I may or may not be doing it quite as efficiently or correct as you just said, but
As long as
also there happens to be a planner involved, and she for sure knows. I'm like, I know the basics. That's
yeah.
about it. Yeah, so that's so wild. So then they get married, and a lot of my job I feel like starts after the wedding, but for the most, and I'm one of the only people that is that. But once the wedding day is over, you did your job.
Yeah, we're first in, first out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I always like to say too, like it's like a domino effect when photography comes in. We're waiting on hair and makeup, and so if we get held up, oftentimes it's hair and makeup. But then we hold up like catering by the time the reception comes around. I'm like, I'm gonna get in trouble because I went a little long for sunset, and they need to start serving salads. So, anyways, yeah, it's just funny because we have to work so seamlessly.
Yeah, so I've learned over the years, I started telling people, I give them an example timeline, and I'm like, you need to leave room, like a wiggle room area between when we're done and the photographer arrives.
Mm-hmm.
Because even just getting dressed in their robe, you would not believe sometimes that takes forever. Or
Mm-hmm.
there are some people that they literally will not stay in the chair. Yeah, so we usually like 2 hours for hair and makeup, and that is the full 2 hours. We need you to be there.
Not optional.
Yeah, some people are like, I mean, especially if there's a larger party, they're being pulled away nonstop. So I usually tell people like have a little buffer in between when we're done. The photographer is supposed to arrive, so that way the photographer is not just waiting on us because they never see the what happens before, and it's not it's not like what you would think.
I'm sure. And I feel like once we arrive, though, there's like, oh, wait, can we do this one touch up? This one lash is kind of doing this weird thing. Can you fix it? So I see like the final touches of that, but I don't see the entire morning. Is it usually, well, I guess it depends, but like pretty quiet? And I feel like once photography and video arrive on scene, it's like go time.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the party. If it's someone more chill, then it can be very quiet. We get the louder parties where some of them, we're starting at 6 a.m. and they have the music like bumping and they're partying.
When they were probably out late for like the rehearsal the night before, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're operating on 3.5 hours of sleep max. That's so funny. Okay, so tell me, are there like a couple things that you're seeing within the industry that you're really enjoying as far as hair and makeup is concerned, even just on Maui?
Yeah. So I've been seeing on the internet and Instagram and just hearing everywhere that the natural people are wanting to go with more like the natural makeup look, which is totally our jam. They want like romantic hair, and that's what we do.
It feels Relaxed, is that, which I feel like is on brand with Maui.
Yeah, it's on brand with our company, especially because that's what we specialize in. I do love I call it the modern French twist. That has been in style for, I don't know if it's been a year, but it's still in style. But it's basically like higher up on the head and it looks like a croissant. There's so many ways to do it, but I like it because it's forever it was just like the half up and the low bun and the glam waves all down. So I feel like this is like a nice change that we're seeing a lot of. And I think it's a flattering style. And it's something that is like classic because the French twist is like the classic hairstyle you learn that in beauty school. But
It's gorgeous.
but the original is just like kind of old and boring. So the modern version, like, you can do it so many ways. It looks really fun. It has like little tousled pieces out sometimes, so it looks really like effortless and romantic.
Yeah, I feel like it seems as though there's a way to do it where it is more like tight and finished, and then there's more relaxed and chill.
I love making someone just elevate how they already look and
Mm.
just kind of elevate it by, evening out your skin tone, like some blush so you look like, and that's another thing, like the rosy blush, and just bring out their natural features so they look like their best selves.
And I feel like that's the most, like, they're gonna look back at these photos and be like, oh, I looked like myself.
Yes, and
That's
that's
how I
what I'm all
feel
about.
when I look at the photos that I was have taken with your makeup on. I'm like, oh, I don't feel like I look like this totally different human.
Yes, and
I even like I remember you said you would ask me about eyelashes, like which ones do I want to do, if I wanted to go smaller or go bigger, and I was like, whatever you want to do, I'm just down for whatever. And you're like, let's go big, and I was like, okay, and I was like, maybe they're gonna feel too big, but even though you chose like the larger ones or whatever, they didn't feel too much like in that moment or in the photos. And so I was like, wow, that I'm so grateful that I trusted you and was like, yeah, you just do what you think will look best. And it still looked like me.
yeah, and I will say like my range of like lashes are all in the pretty much all in the natural range.
Oh,
I have
okay. All right.
bigger, like bigger, but while still looking natural to me, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just think you can go on your website and it will speak for itself how beautiful everybody looks. I'm just been impressed. Oh, this was my other question because you did airbrush. Tell me about that. Will you explain that to me? Because I was like, what are we doing right now? And it felt like because there was like a little brush involved, like not like a regular brush, but I was like, it's going to be like a lot. But so explain the difference because I don't understand. I just thought it looked great between like that and like an alternative.
So the normal traditional foundation is like a liquid that you would paint on with a brush. You
Mm-hmm.
can even use your hands. But yeah, I mean it's literally like painting your face. So it covers everything. You could do it light, medium, depending and heavy, depending on the amount of layers you do. The airbrush is also makeup in a liquid form, but it's sprayed on and it's shooting out in little like m- nano dots. You can also go light to medium to heavy depending on the amount of layers you do, but you're still getting like little pockets of skin that's breathing, that's not covered with makeup. Doesn't look like that, but um, when I took my airbrush class, that's what he said. So it's really good for sensitive skin,
Okay.
but it's really, really great for people that just don't like the feeling of makeup.
Mm.
So that's kind of where I am. Like when I took my makeup class in Atlanta, we, I mean, I was learning from like a pro. Like she had been doing makeup forever. She gave us our kit, and like they used me as a model a lot, and my skin was like torn up after, just
Mm.
broken out from like the long wear foundations. And that's what the airbrush is. It's long wear, it's water resistant, sweat resistant. So it's comparable to a traditional makeup formula that, that can stand up to humidity and things like that, but it doesn't feel that way. Like it doesn't feel like you're wearing a ton of makeup. It's so light, and that's what everyone says. So I love it.
I really loved it. I don't think I had ever had that done before or since, and I loved that so much. It felt so good.
Yay.
Yeah. So is there any other thing that you're seeing within the industry or experiencing with brides?
Especially right now, we got a lot more budget shoppers. And I guess I just want everyone to know, like, when you're like, I understand it has to do with the economy and it has to do with the state of the world and everything, inflation. But when you're coming to Maui, just know everything is going to cost a lot more. Like, everyone complains about the cost of food, the cost of this, the cost of that. So just be prepared. Things are a little bit more expensive here, but the weather's amazing. I mean, you can't get like mountains and ocean view and like tropical weather everywhere. So you're paying for the difference in that.
Well, you're paying for that, but also too, as a small business owner, like y'all are living on that island, and the cost of living to live on that island is higher, which is just in general going to increase the cost of maybe what it is on the mainland.
Yeah, and actually, I feel like our prices are like comparable to some high-end cities in the mainland, but
Just in general, what is one thing that they could do differently where it is less just about budget shopping?
if I were a bride right now, I would maybe write a list of things that are very important to me and not so important, and maybe you just don't care. And then, like, from the list, the ones that are most important to you, um, prioritize spending money on that. And then I think for some reason, like I've always seen this trend, for some reason, a lot of people put an emphasis, sorry, on photos and flowers. But then, like, their hair and makeup is literally like they want to cut corners with that.
Mm, your face needs to match the aesthetic.
Yeah, and I think if you really truly don't care about the makeup, like you never wear makeup, you're totally fine with your photos having not professional makeup, that's fine. But if you do care a little bit about that, then I would say spend the money on a good artist, do your research. Don't try to budget because then you run into problems later. Like
Yeah.
over the last few years, I've gotten at least there's probably been about 15 times where I have gotten a frantic bride inquiring for the next day or even on the day because their artist never showed. Like people thought they were booked and they weren't. Yeah. So,
You know what's funny is I just chatted with a bride who she had a similar experience, and it was like the day before, like at her rehearsal dinner, and she contacted her planner, and her planner was like, "Ah, I got this. Don't even worry about it." So I'm like, that's so scary to think that unreliable people exist like that.
yeah. And I think if you're going to go with somebody that's not going to charge you a deposit, that's not going to communicate with you, that doesn't even have like a proper website or doesn't show up on social media, they might be the best stylist in the world, but that would make me nervous as hell.
Yes, I agree.
I need to know I'm going to book this person, they're going to be there. So I would spend a little bit more money on somebody that has all those things. And like
As a real human that genuinely cares about your
mhm.
wedding day and will be there. Yeah, reliable.
And I think like I have gotten people recently that have questioned the deposit, and I just want everyone to know that's like industry standard, and the point of that is like we're guaranteeing we're going to be there. Like
Yes.
I don't think anyone is going to take your money and not show up. Their business
It's
would be destroyed
yes,
after.
100%. It's like a mutual agreement,
Yeah.
especially, if you're booking your calendar out 6, 12 months in advance. yeah, it's totally industry standard. And yeah, if people were, I've said before in the past, like if I'm not in it to, take people's money and not provide services. That doesn't sound fun to me. And I also think I would have been out of business a long time ago.
Yeah. But when I have had those instances, it was like a lot 2 years ago. It happened a lot. And I think it might have fallen in line like right after the pandemic, but people were booking these hair and makeup artists that didn't take deposits. So they
Like
never
I
showed.
wouldn't, I personally, like as a bride, I'm like, no, 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 take this retainer, take this deposit so I can feel good that you're going to be there. And it's not just like a pinky promise.
Mm-hmm. So, and I know because I asked them, like I want to help everyone, so I did a lot of those, and I was like, did you pay a deposit? And they're like, no. So I guess I could. That's a big tip to people, like book vendors that are serious. They have a Google reviews.
You don't want to end up in a pickle, especially with hair and makeup. I was talking with another bride, and thankfully her planner was like, "Nope, you go enjoy your rehearsal dinner. I got this." And within an hour, she had a different hair and makeup lined up for her. And it was like slow clap for the planner because if I had to deal with that, it would just be really stressful. Yeah, that is kind of wild. Find reputable people who run a legitimate business.
Yes.
Okay, question. If there was one way for a bride to elevate her experience with you in your arena of hair and makeup, what would it be?
I think it's best if your skin is at its like best it's ever been. So I would do like take care of your skin and your hair like the year leading up to your wedding. So if you're not somebody that has a skincare routine, go get one.
Get
And
one.
it's very simple. It's just very simple. And like do things like don't sleep in your makeup,
Okay. Can
wash your face
you like
morning
put
and
that on like a t-shirt? Don't sleep in your makeup. Okay.
non-negotiable. Like wash your face. Yeah, and if you're gonna come with hydrated skin, that's the biggest thing. Like the dry skin, we we can do things to help that on the wedding day, but it's better if it starts with you way ahead of time. Like hydrate your skin, drink tons of water. Like I noticed a lot of people just don't drink water, which is strange.
I will make eye contact because I do not drink
You
enough
don't
water.
drink water?
I'm so bad. I'll be happy to I'll be good to drink this whole thing. It's so bad. I just got in trouble this morning again from my husband. He was telling our daughter, he was like, "Little bug, you need to be at least drinking at least whatever." He's like, "Don't talk to your mom because she's not doing it either."
Yeah.
Do you feel like when people get to the island, their skin like reacts differently?
Yes, it does. I think it has to do with like the climate being different, the stress, the traveling, in the dry airplane the whole time. So unfortunately, we do see that a lot where people break out a little bit.
Mm,
Um, they're like, "This is no, this has never happened before." They'll only have like one or two. So
yeah.
easy to cover.
And maybe too like a little bit. So one thing I thought of when I had my makeup done with you because I flew in the day before and then I think it was like the very next morning and I felt really puffy.
Mm,
Like I was retaining a lot, like I was just puffy from traveling. I don't know. I didn't drink enough water. So that was probably 90% of the problem. But I was like, maybe I should have come in like a day earlier and like let my body like work out all of the from being swollen. I was like, I just
yeah,
felt like a lot larger than normal.
that's really smart. I actually never thought of that, but that's a good tip.
I don't know. I mean, is it true or is it just I was just in my head about it. I'm not sure, but I was like, oh, I just feel like I've retained water from traveling or something. So,
I do hear that a lot. That from other guests in the room. Yeah, I do hear that.
okay, this is my second to last question for you. I just want to know why you're worth it.
Why am I worth it?
Yeah.
Because I have been doing this for so long and I'm very passionate about what I do. I love what I do. It hasn't gotten old yet.
Mm,
And like I'm really big into education. I'm someone that's constantly like I know I'm not the best, but I can like keep doing things to get better and better. And I think that that's like when I see stylists, that's the mentality that like a really good stylist has. When they know they're not the best, but they keep doing education, they keep trying. I I tell my whole team like take a photo of your work and then I'll critique it.
I
And
love
I don't know if everyone likes that, but I do that to my own work. I just want to get better and better.
I think there's always like I'll do that with my photos. I'm like, next time that can't cut that bottom of that shoe off. It drives me crazy to see like legs chopped off but I'm like I'll go do the same thing. I'm like, oh, if I would have just gotten a little bit closer in that moment or something. So I love that. I think being a constant learner is so important. Things are always changing too. Like you said, like trends, things going in and out. So
And
yeah.
I also like really care about people and the clients. And I think that's gotten me pretty far in my field is that I everyone always says like, "Oh, you're so easy to talk to," or like I can be like a chameleon in the room. So I kind of feed off of their vibe and I kind of give them what they need. And then I've seen other hairstylists that walk in and they're giant personalities. I think that's common in our industry.
Yeah.
And it's almost I think it can be a turnoff for some people. Like for me, it just feels I don't know, like they're taking up too much room in the space.
Yes, I think time and a place to have that energy and a time and a place to not. And I feel like, I mean, personally for me, when I worked with you that one day, I felt just as special as a bride would feel. Like you made me feel so welcomed and so excited and just for to go do some family portraits, you know. And it was so calm. I don't know. I just really enjoyed your energy and I could tell that you did really care.
Thank you.
I wasn't even getting married, so I really appreciate that.
Thank you. That's like one of my like my company policy or like what is it called? This SOP standard.
Waiting procedure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, with my contractors, like one of our things, I say this day is about the client.
Mm,
So like check your baggage at the door. Let's make it special for them. Like and I said, let's just like concentrate on them. Like make them feel like it is their best day ever.
I love that. From my experience, you've done that so well, and you can see that in your work. So, question, where is the best place for people to find you? Where are you hanging out at?
I just got my website done. That was a year and a half in the making.
Yeah.
So go see my site and then you can contact me there. If not, I do go on Instagram. I try to do that as much as I can tolerate.
We go in and out of seasons of being great. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming and chatting with me. I just admire what you're doing and the business that you're running and think you're so talented. So I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me today.
Thank you. I appreciate you.